Jam Vishnu Pada Panaman Sarvapadikacharya Turotasis My Divine Graces A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Śrīla Prabhupada Ki Jai Anante Koti Vaishnavinda Ki Jai Namacharya Shri Haridas Thakur Ki Jai Principal Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Radha Gadadara Shri Vasari Gaura Bhaktavinda Ki Jai Ganga Maya Ki Jai Yamuna Maya Ki Jai Vrindavan Dhamma Ki Jai Mathura Dhamma Ki Jai Shri Mayapur Dhamma Ki Jai Samaveda Bhaktavinda Ki Jai All glory to the assembled devotees, all glory to the assembled devotees, all glory to the assembled devotees, all glory to Shri Guru Shri Gauranga. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Today we are reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 2, Chapter 7, Schedule Incarnation, Text 18. Nārtho baler ayam urukrama-pāda-śaucam. āpaḥ cikīrṣad vibudha-adhipatyam. Yo vai pratiśrutam tena cikīrṣad. ātmānam aṅga manasā haraye bhimene. Nārtho baler ayam urukrama-pāda-śaucam. āpaḥ cikīrṣad vibudha-adhipatyam. Yo vai pratiśrutam tena cikīrṣad. ātmānam aṅga manasā haraye bhimene. Nārtho baler ayam urukrama-pāda-śaucam. āpaḥ cikīrṣad vibudha-adhipatyam. Yo vai pratiśrutam tena cikīrṣad. ātmānam aṅga manasā haraye bhimene. Vibudha-adhipatyam. Yo vai pratiśrutam tena cikīrṣad. ātmānam aṅga manasā haraye bhimene. Nārtho baler urukrama-pāda-śaucam. āpaḥ cikīrṣad vibudha-adhipatyam. Yo vai pratiśrutam tena cikīrṣad. ātmānam aṅga manasā haraye bhimene. Mataji's? Word to word. Na, never. Artha, of any value in comparison with baler of strength. Ayam, this urukrama-pāda-śaucam, the water washed from the feet of the Personality of Godhead. āpaḥ, water, śikhā-dhṛtavato, of one who has kept in it on his head. Vibudha-adhipatyam, supremacy over the kingdom of the demigods. One who, by certainly, pratiśrutam, what was duly promised. Utena, besides that, cikīrṣad, tried for, anyad, anything else. ātmānam, even his personal body. aṅga, or nārtho, manasā, within his mind. haraye, unto the Supreme Lord. Bhimene, dedicated. Translation. Bali Mahārāja, who put on his head the water washed from the lotus feet of the Lord, did not think of anything beside his promise, in spite of being forbidden by his spiritual master. The king dedicated his own personal body to fulfill the measurement of the Lord's third step. For such personality, even a kingdom of heaven, which he conquered by his strength, was no value. Bali Mahārāja, please repeat. Bali Mahārāja, who put on his head the water washed from the lotus feet of the Lord, did not think of anything beside his promise, in spite of being forbidden by his spiritual master. The king dedicated his own personal body to fulfill the measurement of the Lord's third step. For such a personality, even the kingdom of heaven, which he conquered by his strength, was no value. Purport, long purport. Bali Mahārāja, by gaining the transcendental favor of the Lord in exchange for his great material sacrifice, was able to have a place in Vaikuntha with equal or greater facility of eternal enjoyment. Therefore, he was not at all the loser by sacrificing the kingdom of heaven, which he had possessed by his material strength. In other words, when the Lord snatches away one's hard-earned material position and favor one with his personal transcendental service for eternal life, bliss, and knowledge, such taking away by the Lord should be considered a special favor upon such a pure devotee. Material position, however alluding they may be, cannot be permanent position. Therefore, one has to voluntarily give up such position, or one has to leave such position at the time of quitting this material body. The same man knows that all material positions are temporary, and the best use of such position is to engage them in the service of the Lord, so that the Lord may be pleased with him and award him a permanent place in his parandama. In Bhagavad Gita 15:5-6, the parandama of the Lord is described as follows. Nirmana moha jita sangha dosa ātmānam vibudha-adhipatyam bandho vibudha dukkha sanjay gacchātu mamutta parabhayantam natta vasayate suyo nassa sanko napabakam yagatpanani bantante tandamam paramam mamam. One who possesses more in this material world in the shape of a house, land, children, society, friendship, and wealth, possessing these things only for the time being. One cannot possess all this illusionary paraphernalia created by Maya permanently. Such possessor is more illusion in the matter of his self-realization. Therefore, one should possess less or nothing, so that one may be free from artificial prestige. We are contaminated in the material world by association with the three modes of material nature. Therefore, the more one spiritually advances by devotional service to the Lord in exchange for his temporary possession, the more one is free from the attachment of material illusion. To achieve this stage of life, one must be firmly convinced about spiritual existence and its permanent effect. To know exactly the permanency of spiritual existence, one must voluntarily practice possessing less or only the minimum in maintaining one's material existence without difficulty. One should not create artificial need. That will help one be satisfied with the minimum. Artificial need of life are activity of the senses. The modern advancement of civilization is based on these activities of the senses, or other words, it is civilization of sense gratification. Perfect civilization is a civilization of ātmā, or soul proper. The civilized man of sense gratification is on an equal level with animal, because animal cannot go beyond the activity of the senses. Above the senses is the mind. The civilization of mental speculation is also not the perfect stage of life, because above the mind is the intelligent. And the Bhagavad Gita gives us information of intellectual civilization. The Vedic literature gives different descriptions for the human civilization, direction for the human civilization, including the civilization of the senses, of the mind, of the intelligent, and of the soul proper. The Bhagavad Gita primarily deals with the intelligence of man, leading one to the progress path of civilization of the spirit soul. And Srimad Bhagavatam is a complete human civilization dealing with the subject matter of the soul proper. As soon as man is raised to the state of the civilization of soul, he is fit to promote to the kingdom of God, which is described in Bhagavad Gita as per the above verses. The primary information of the kingdom of God informs us that there is no need of sun, moon, or electricity, which are all necessary in the material world of darkness. And the secondary information of the kingdom of God explains that anyone able to reach that kingdom by adoption of the civilization of the soul proper, or in other words, by the method of bhakti yoga, attain the highest perfection of life. One is then situated in the permanent existence of the soul with full knowledge of transcendental loving service for the Lord. Bali Mahārāja accepted this civilization of the soul in exchange for his great material position, and thus became fit for promotion to the kingdom of God. The kingdom of heaven, which he achieved by dint of his material power, was considered most insignificant in comparison with the kingdom of God. Those who have attained the comfort of material civilization made for sense gratification should try to attain the kingdom of God by following the footsteps of Bali Mahārāja, who exchanged his acquired material strength, adopting the process of bhakti yoga, as recommended in Bhagavad Gita and further explained in the Srimad Bhagavatam. Om Gyanatimirandasya Gyana Sharakaya Chakshum Manitanyena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. I'm going to speak a little bit about overview. Then we will describe about today's text along with Srila Prabhupada's purport. The overview, we are reading Srimad Bhagavatam second canto from chapter 5. In the beginning of chapter 5, Narada Muni asked Brahmaji, please give us transcendental knowledge regarding to the soul. I also want to know, Narada Muni speaking to Brahma, I also want to know the process of creation because you created the universe, so you must know all about creation. But then I wonder, by seeing you are meditating and you are performing sacrifice, austerities, there must be someone who is above you. I wonder who that could be. Hearing that, Lord Brahma said to Narada Muni, yes, what you said is true. I certainly created this material universe, but I created under the direction of the Supreme Lord. The Supreme Lord, He created the material universe, and then under His direction, I sub-created, which is already created by the Lord. Then He described about the process of creation. Then after describing the process of creation, He started describe about different incarnation of the Lord. That's come to today's chapter, chapter 7, scheduled incarnation. In this chapter, Lord Brahma described about different incarnation about and the purpose of that incarnation. First, he described about baleḥ. Baleḥ appears to save the earth and fight with Hiranyaksha. Hiranyaksha is described as the first demon in the universe, in this material world. Then he described about Kapila Dev, son of Devahuti. Then he described about Rishabha Dev. He described about Prithu Mahārāja. He described about Nashinga Dev. He described about Totoi Kacha, Kuruma incarnation. He described about different incarnations. Then he described about how Gajendra was asking for the help from the crocodile. Then Lord appeared to save the Gajendra. Then came to today's text. The Lord appears as Vamanadev to deal with Bali Mahārāja. But at the same time, he came to save Indra and get the heaven which was taken by the Bali Mahārāja. So that is the overview. And then after this, after Vamanadev's story, he talked about different incarnation further to Ramachandra. Then he described about Krishna, and then about Krishna, he says so many things about Krishna, almost like a summary of Krishna book. What Krishna did, what Krishna did, what Krishna did, so many things about Krishna. And then at the end, he described about the Kalki, he comes at the end of the Kali Yuga. Then he said, Brahma told Narada Muni, I explained this exactly as I heard, as I was instructed by the Supreme Lord. Now you take this and further expand and give to others. By hearing and describing and appreciating the pastime of the Lord, one will certainly be free from illusion and then go back to Godhead. So Lord Brahma is the head of our Sampradaya, Brahma Sampradaya. We are in a line of Brahma, Gaudiya Sampradaya. So the head of head of Brahma Sampradaya, Brahmaji is instructing Narada Muni, study Srimad Bhagavatam as it was instructed by the Lord himself, and expand and give to others. He's a preacher. And then Brahma gave to Narada, Narada gave to Vyasa, Vyasa gave to all these Parampara, Sukadeva Goswami, and Sutta Goswami, and we are receiving. And Prabhupada gave elaborate translation and purport. So we are going to receive it and expand and give to others. Expand means not putting speculation, but expand in the way it's authorized. Expand in the way the others who are listening can understand with their capacity, with their situation, with their dealing with material nature, with their situation. So the Prabhupada expand the shloka into 3 pages of purport. In the shloka, there is only 4 lines of shloka. Then Prabhupada expanded to 3 pages of purport. So that is how exactly Lord Brahma instructed Narada to do, and Prabhupada go through the Guru Parampara he is doing. And now I'm going to try to explain what Prabhupada said to expand this statement of Srimad Bhagavatam. The first line, now we are going to discuss about today's verse. First line now, Bali Mahārāja urukrama-pāda-śaucam. Urukrama means Vamanadev. This urukrama, name is urukrama, come to the famous sloka, ātmānam munayo niruguram tanyapi urukrame kuruvanti haitukim bhakti tambuta guno hari. ātmānam, those who are self-realized, they are already satisfied within, but they take pleasure hearing about the pastime of urukrama. Urukrama means someone who have done great deed. Because Vamanadev covered the whole universe with 2 steps. Such a great deed he have done, such a urukrama. ātmānam relish to hear about the pastime of urukrama, the Supreme Lord, because they are so relishable. Even though they are satisfied within himself, but still they relish. That means ātmānam can relish the Supreme Lord's pastime. That means Supreme Lord is behind the ātmānam, behind anything we can perceive. So urukrama actually Vamanadev, here it said urukrama-pāda-śaucam. Bali Mahārāja placed the water, washed the lotus feet of the Lord on his head. The story we know is Vamanadev asked, I covered the whole universe in 2 steps, but you promised to give me 3 steps of land where I can put my 3rd step. And then Bali Mahārāja gave his own head. I surrender to you. Please place your lotus feet on my head. So Vamanadev placed his lotus feet on Bali Mahārāja's head. But here it said, Pāda-śaucam. Then Pāda-śaucam means water washed the lotus feet of the Lord. And I wonder, is this indicating the feet or indicating the water? Then next line, the first word of next line is āpaḥ, that means water. That's confirmed that this verse indicates Bali Mahārāja placed the water, washed the lotus feet of the Lord. That means the water washed the lotus feet of the Lord means Ganga water. Because finding urukrama, Vamanadev's steps, second one, he kicked the universe, the shell. Then from the first step, he covered whole earth, yeah? Then second step, he covered whole universe. And his little toe touched the shelf of the universe. From there, it cracked, and the water of Karna-daksha ocean came within the universe. Last time, the water washed the lotus feet of the Lord. That's why it's called Pāda-śaucam, āpaḥ. The water washed the lotus feet of the Lord, and that is Ganga. So by doing this act, Vamanadev benefit not only Bali Mahārāja, but he benefit Ganga to be able to descend within the earth. By this act, we are benefited because we can, especially for us, Mayapurvasi, we can go to Ganga every day, and we can take baths, and we can drink the water, we can use the water for bathing in a deity, and we get so purified. Even someone who doesn't go to Ganga every day, just by the breeze of the Ganga, we get purified. So we get benefit, and Ganga get benefit, and Bali Mahārāja get benefit, and Indra, urukrama, could be also called Upendra. Upendra means brother of Indra, because Indra was in trouble. So Kashyapa and Aditi asked the Lord to appear as their son. So he came as the youngest son of Aditi and Kashyapa. So here we know that Aditi performed Payavrata for 1 week or 10 days, but actually urukrama didn't come just because for 1 week or 10 days tapasya. Actually, Kashyapa Muni, he was performing austerity for 1,000 years of demigod. Then just when that 1,000 years of austerity was coming to the maturity, then this whole thing happened, and Bali Mahārāja attacked, and all the Indra was thrown out. And then Aditi asked, oh, my my son was driving away from heaven. Please do something. Please help. And Kashyapa was thinking, I'm doing tapasya. What this woman is doing? How is the illusional energy of the Lord is so strong? Then he told Aditi to perform Priyavrata. So the Vamanadev appeared to please Aditi and also Kashyapa. Then Kashyapa asked, because of maturity of his austerity, he asked, please come as our son. Then he came as Vamanadev. Narada Muni, the story, because Brahma said that we can expand, so I'm going to expand stories from Bhagavatam. Once Narada Muni went to the heaven. In the heaven, there was Vamanadev sitting there on the back of Garuda. There was a big kirtan was going on. Sita was glorifying the Lord, and Apsara and Gandharva were dancing, and the Lord Indra was glorifying Upendra, how Lord is so kind to him, and how he installed Indra into the heaven, and he, especially how he saved Indra from the Bali Mahārāja's attack. Then Indra, as we know, he has so many eyes all over, and he was crying in ecstasy. And when he cries, the tear comes, not only from two eyes, but then all over the body. He has so many eyes. From all the eyes, the tear was shedding. That's why he was crying in ecstasy for the love for the Lord. Then after some time, Vamanadev said, "Oh Indra, don't worry about the demon. I will always protect you. If they come to attack, I will fight. If necessary, I can kill them also, so don't worry. You're always protected by me." Then they have 16 upachars offering and expanded to 64 upachars offering. Then after the offering is done, I think in this case, Vamanadev is already grown up. We know Vamanadev is like a giraffe, like a little boy, but it's mentioned that he has a wife in this stage, Kirti. The name is, the wife is Kirti. She was offering that palm, and then the Lord picked the palm, and he was showing better nuts. Then Aditi was there. Aditi was taking a hand of Upendra, urukrama, and then taking nice care. Then after that's finished, that is the assembly hall, like official hall. When that's finished, Upendra went to his court. Then Upendra went, and Narada Muni asked Indra, "Oh Indra, you're so fortunate. You receive so much mercy from the Lord." Then Indra said, "I receive so much mercy from the Lord? What you talking about? He said he is going to protect me. He is going to fight with demon. He can kill the demon." But what did he do? He became a little boy and he went to Bali Mahārāja. He didn't fight. He didn't kill Bali Mahārāja. He just asked 3 steps of the land. He just cheated. He has to protect me with such a silly way. I'm the Indra. I'm the king of heaven. I'm strong. And Bali Mahārāja, he took my everything. I was almost starving. I didn't get any sacrifice rituals. I didn't get any. I was starving. I was so thirsty. And Vamanadev, he said he's going to fight and he's going to kill the enemy. But then he went, asked for 3 steps of the land. I was so embarrassed. And then later on, somehow he got all the kingdom back and he was staying in the heaven. Even when he's staying in heaven, I don't know. He's pleased with me or not. He's there, sometimes he's not there. Sometimes he goes to Vaikuntha, he sometimes goes to see Pandavas, sometimes he goes to Dwarka. I want to go with him, but I don't even know where he's actually going. How I can say that I receive his full mercy? I think I got like cheated. And Vamanadev, as younger brother of Indra, he does everything for what Indra say, because younger brother means do whatever elder brother say. So I feel like I'm being cheated. He does everything what I said. I feel so embarrassed. That is my station. That's Indra said. So that is word urukrama. Then talk about the āpaḥ. Then Bali Mahārāja gave up the kingdom which he acquired from his own strength, material strength. He gave up so easily because he knows that he will going to get Krishna's favor by that. By that, and he will get even better than something what he is giving up, which is eternal, blissful, spiritual life in Vaikuntha. So that is shlokas. Then we're going to see what Prabhupada said in a purport. First and second paragraph, he's talking about material possession. So Bali Mahārāja received the favor with the Lord because he gave up the material possession to keep the promise he made for the Lord. He valued his promise to the Lord is much more than anything what he materially possessed. So he gave up material possession and he kept the promise to the Lord. From that act, the Lord was very pleased. So the material possession, it's very alluding, Prabhupada said, very alluding, but it's temporary. One should give up voluntarily, one should possess less or nothing. If not, Krishna will snatch away by force. That is Krishna's favor. It's famous shloka Prabhupada, when Prabhupada doing business and when Prabhupada lost the business, he said this shloka, when I favor some devotees who has material possession, but he wants to surrender the Lord, then my first instrument of mercy is take away the material possession. Prabhupada said this shloka. But that is not the exact. Sometimes it's material possession itself that Prabhupada was lost material possession, mainly business and family. And when we become devotee, maybe the family member become angry and you may lose the family connection or something like that. And also it said may not be itself, but the feeling of possessiveness. I have this is mine. That is more stronger than the thing itself. So Kunti Devi prays Jamma Ishvara Sruti Subhiyeda Mana Manapumanaivanti Arintantu Vaitvan Akinchana Gochara. Material possession, namely Jamma Ishvara Sruti Subhi, means high birth, powers, material beauties, and high education. That kind of thing it seems to be good. If you have that, it's like a prestigious, it's good. But Kunti Devi said, this, if someone possesses, then such a person, he is proud of this possession, then they cannot chant the holy name feelingly because they are depending on those material possessions. Therefore, we should not to have those material possessions is advantage, because if someone doesn't have material possessions, then we can feelingly call out the Lord's name. That means, if we take other way, even someone who has material possession, but then he doesn't think that is mine, that is Krishna, then still with material possession, he can call out Krishna feelingly, because he's not thinking this is mine, this is Krishna, everything is Krishna, we are servant. Yesterday Ganga Prabhu gave the class on this point. It was a very nice class. Then Prabhupada quote Bhagavad Gita 15 chapter, Yoga of Supreme Person, Pratiśrutam Yoga. 15 to 5 to 6. Nirmana moha jita sangha dosa. Nirmana means ahankara. We don't have ahankara. Means, just now I said, I have this. I am a supreme. I am a controller. I am an enjoyer. This is ahankara. But nirmana, I don't have this ahankara. This is not mine. I'm not the controller. I'm not the supreme. Nirmana moha jita sangha dosa. Moha means illusion. I can enjoy this material possession. I can be happy in this material world. Moha was created in the material world by the Lord to bewilder the Lord. But we don't have to be bewildered, this moha. Sangha dosa. Dosa means, dosa is not eating dosa, but then dosa means, that those who know that, those who does the Ayurvedic, they know the dosa. Something is wrong. Something is wrong, some fault. So sangha dosa, something is wrong. Someone is associating with something is wrong. They can, they should give up that false prestige, ahankara and moha, illusion, and sangha dosa, fault. They should give up. Then next line, ātmānam vibudha-adhipatyam. This is adhyatma. The word adhyatma in surprisingly, Prabhupada didn't give the translation of this word directly from Bhagavad Gita, but he explained with the whole paragraph. So now I'm summarizing what Prabhupada said in the purport, along with the translation of this verse. Adhyatma, you are familiar with the word adhyatma, yeah? Adhyatma means in this translation for this verse in Bhagavad Gita, Prabhupada said the knowledge of the spiritual realization. But Adhyatma in chapter 8, Arjuna asked, what is Brahma? What is Adhyatma? What is Adibhuta? What is Adibodhika? What is Adijagana? Do you remember that verse in 8th chapter first? Then Krishna said, Brahma means indestructible living entity. It's called Brahman. And their eternal nature is called Adhyatma. So Adhyatma means eternal nature of the soul. Today's purport, Prabhupada 3 or 4 times repeated, soul proper. We have to understand the soul proper. That means natural nature of the soul. Natural nature of the soul means eternal and indestructible. That is Adhyatma. That is the nature of the soul. Adhyatma is Adhyatma nitya nirvritta-kama. So that is eternal nirvritta-kama, free from the karma. Dvando vimukta skadukka gasanjai. Dvando means delusion. Delusion, free from delusion. Vimukta skadukka sanjai. Skadukka means happiness and happiness. Dukkha means distress. Skadukka sanjai. So free from happiness and distress. Sometimes happy, sometimes distress. If someone is so bewildered, deluded by illusion, then it's very difficult to surrender. Gacchantma-mundam-pada-ayam. So those who are free from delusion created by illusion and free from like and dislike, they can attain the skadukka sanjay gacchantma-mundam-pada-ayam, supreme above the Lord, by the process of bhakti yoga, surrendering process. That's the first shlokas. Prabhupada didn't give the translation directly, but he explained the purport. Then next paragraph, he explained about, next shloka, he explained, Natambasayate suyo nasasakno napabakan nangatbana nibantanten tandamam paramam. This abode of the money is not illuminated by sun or moon or electricity. This electricity, I was wondering, what does it mean, the electricity? They have a switch box to put a fan or something? It's not like that. Electricity could be spiritual, like slowly, yes. Hare Krishna, you cannot hear. Shall I turn off this fan? Close the microphone. Huh? Okay. So electricity, it's not like what we have electricity here, but then when someone was fighting, I think Shiva or somebody was fighting, they have fire weapon and water weapon, they have electricity weapon, something like that. So there is electricity there. So, but in the spiritual world, without electricity, there is a light, because everything is made of internal potency of the Lord, and everything is effulgent. So Tad Dharma Paramam Bhavam, the supreme abode or the money is not illuminated by sun or moon or electricity. Paramam Bhavam. So everything actually belongs to the Lord. All the planets in the material world and in the spiritual world, everything is His abode. But among all everything, Paramam Bhavam, this supreme abode of money is the Vaikuntha, is the spiritual world. And among all the Vaikuntha, the topmost is Goloka Vrindavan. And then Prabhupada, there are the two purports in Bhagavad Gita. Srila Prabhupada describes about the spiritual world very directly. That is just 1:15:6, and chapter 8, somewhere in the middle. He describes about how Goloka Vrindavan, full of Chintamani stone, Kalpa tree, Slavic cow, so many billions, thousands, millions, billions, goodness, fortunate serving the Lord. He described a different feature of the Goloka Vrindavan. There's, I think, 2 or 3 purports in Bhagavad Gita. Prabhupada very directly described about the spiritual world. And then Prabhupada said, one must be captivated by this description. That means we have to be captivated. We hear this description, wow, so wonderful, so nice. I want to go there. Prabhupada wanted us to be captivated. And we want to tell others also how wonderful that place is. So the spiritual world is described about, here is Parandharma, the supreme abode, and also it's described about Abhyakta. Abhyakta means unmanifested. Unmanifest means the material world is also called Abhyakta because sometimes material world is manifested, sometimes it's not manifested. Buddha parayate. Every day Lord Brahma wake up, he creates the universe. Every night he goes to sleep, universe is destroyed. So the material world is described about Buddha parayate, again and then again, manifested and unmanifested. That means physically, the material element is merged into Garbhodakshaya Vishnu and will not be able to physical element anymore. It's there, but we cannot see in a gross form. But Bhakto, Sanatana, this same word, Abhyakta, is described in the following text that describe about the spiritual world. Those who are in the world of Bhakta, means manifest and unmanifest, that repeated creation and destruction. Those people who are living there, they cannot see Abhyakta, which is unmanifested, to their vision. That means their Abhyakta is, the first Abhyakta is created and annihilated. That's why Abhyakta and repeatedly created and annihilated. The second Abhyakta is those who are in the material world, they cannot see. From their vision, it's Abhyakta, it's unmanifested. So the spiritual world is called Abhyakta. Another word it's described by the spiritual world is Akshaya. We just have Akshaya Titi. Those who perform Akshaya Titi, some austerity, some extra japa, or some worship, some charity, some Vaishnava seva, their benefit is Akshaya, indestructible, will never be destroyed. So the spiritual world is also called Akshaya, never be destroyed. It's eternal. The spiritual world is Abhyakta and Akshaya, and then here Param, the supreme. Supreme, not only supreme, but it's behind the material creation, behind our perception. It's supreme abode. That is the spiritual world. So that is the kind of place where we aspire to go. And Prabhupada wanted us to be captivated by this description. And Prabhupada wanted us to go back there and take as many as with us to go back to Godhead. And Bali Mahārāja, the last paragraph of Prabhupada said, Bali Mahārāja gave the example how we should surrender unto the Lord, and then we should follow his footsteps. Ananya Bhakti. He achieved the heaven by his strength. That's karma, his activities. But Ananya Bhakti means Anya Virasya Sunyan Jnana Karmani Anavritan Anukrena Krishna Nusiranam Bhakti Uttama. Not dependent on karma, not dependent on jnana. It's not dependent on anything else. It's only Krishna, Anya Virasya Sunyan. Zero dependence on anything. No jnana mishra, no mishra, mishra means mix. No jnana mishra bhakti, no karma mishra bhakti, no mishra, nothing mixed. Ananya bhakti, only ananya bhakti, we can go back to Godhead. Those who are doing Bhakti Shastri or have done Bhakti Shastri, you have done Bhakti Shastri? Do you remember there was a question? I don't know you have the same question, but the essay question. Can you explain how the process of pure devotional service guarantee one to go back to Godhead? Do you remember something like that essay question? Devotion, once going back to Godhead, same thing I'm saying. Once going back to Godhead is guaranteed by the pure devotional service. That's what please explain. That's what the essay question. So many devotees, those who are not doing Bhakti Shastri, think we can go back to Godhead when we become pure devotee. If we don't perform so much devotional service, we don't develop good qualities, and we don't do this and that, completely doing everything, then we cannot go back to Godhead. But in this chapter 8, especially regarding to this essay question, it said, it's not one's ability, how much we did, how great service we did, how great devotee we did, then it's guaranteed to go back to Godhead. It's not like that. Going back to Godhead is guaranteed by pure devotional service. The process of pure devotional service is so great. That's why those who are not depending on jnana karma, not depending on anything else, only pure devotional service. I'm not pure, but I am depending on process of pure devotional service. Because pure devotional service, that process is so potent. With that potency, then that person is guaranteed to go back to Godhead. That is the point of essay question. So I wanted to say in this connection. So we may think, I'm not qualified to go back to Godhead. That's okay. We may not qualify, but the process of pure devotional service has so much power, and Krishna guarantee those who are not depending on anything else, those who are depending on only the process of pure devotional service, Ananya Bhakti, then that process guarantee you to go back to Godhead. And one time, my son was telling Rajitamba Mataji, she happened to sit quite close to Prabhupada when Prabhupada was giving a lecture, and then in that class, Prabhupada said, someone asked, can we go back to Godhead? I'm not sure. And Prabhupada said, when you go back to Godhead, I will be in the spiritual world, and I will tell Krishna, this is my man. Let him come inside. So we may not qualify, but we take shelter of pure process of pure devotion. So we are not depending on anything else. Then Prabhupada, somehow we make it there. We have a desire to go there, and Prabhupada will say, he's my man, she's my man, my woman, she's mine, he's mine. Let them come inside. So Krishna said, yes, then we will be in the spiritual world. So that's today's verse, where I read shloka again. Bali Mahārāja, who put on his head the water washed from the lotus feet of the Lord, did not think of anything beside his promise, in spite of being forbidden by his spiritual master. The king dedicated his own personal body to fulfillment and measurement of the Lord's third step. For such a personality, even the kingdom of heaven, which he conquered by his strength, was of no value. Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Devi ki jai, Bali Mahārāja ki jai, Jai Gaur Premanande Hari Hari Bol. Is there any question or comment? I have 10 minutes. Yes.
Thank you, Mataji. I have two questions. One is in the purport it is mentioned that whatever Lord favors by taking everything away from a devotee, but here it is mentioned it's pure devotee. So that's for a pure devotee, Lord takes away everything, or is it for any devotee? And a pure devotee can understand what is happening with him if something is taken away or everything is taken away from him by the Lord. But what about general devotees like me?
Okay.
I may not be able to take it like Lord is doing me a favor. Okay. So how to understand this?
I can think of two ways to answer. First one is someone is not very mature. Someone I came to Hare Krishna consciousness yesterday, then suddenly everything is lost, I don't know what's happening. Then their faith may not become strong. So that kind of person Krishna will not take away immediately. That is the first understanding. Yes, like a new bhakta, I came to surrender to Krishna, suddenly I lost everything, then how he can develop Krishna consciousness. So Krishna will not do that to the neophyte, new devotees. But those who already dedicate himself, but then somehow something is blocking, then Krishna will take away that kind of state, then he may do. And then the second way of answering is definition of pure devotees. Pure devotees here doesn't mean that he has no material desire. Pure devotees means he is not depending on any other process, but he is depending on the process of bhakti, ananya bhakti. Ananya bhakti means those who are depending on devotional service. It's not like you don't have any material desire. Something like an example of the very rich man, he has so much money. So someone comes to that person, flattering him, please give that, give this, give money. Then they come with motivation to that person to get something. That is mixed devotee. I have devotion, but then I want something, that's why I'm approaching. But that rich man has a grandson. He already have the relationship with that person, and he likes that person. I like grandfather, and grandfather likes grandchild, and play together. They have loving exchange. And sometimes grandson says, Grandpapa, can I have some ice cream? Can I have some toy? That doesn't mean he approached the grandfather to get something. He has already relationship. Within that relationship, he's asking this and that. So the devotees, we don't go to Krishna to get material benefit, but we want relationship with Krishna. Within the relationship, we may have some, can I have house, or maybe can I get money, or can I have this and that? Within that relationship. That's why it's considered to be not karma mishra bhakta or jnana mishra bhakta. It's not the mix. It's ananya bhakti, means pure devotional service. We want relationship with Krishna. That is our motivation. But we have some material, but it's not the motivation to approach. That's why it's called, even we have material desire, but our motivation is not to fulfill the material desire. That's why it's called pure devotion. That's one. There are many different ways of defining pure devotee, but then that is one of the most valuable definition of pure devotion. What I understood. Can I go here first, and I will come back to you. And after you.
Mataji, thank you for the class. Mataji, I had a question. I'm unable to understand the timeline. Like right now, Narad Muni has asked Lord Brahma, and that is why all these scheduled incarnations is being explained to him. So is it because Narad Muni was just born or something like that it is?
And this is quite in the beginning of creation, but doesn't mean he was just born and he started asking. But then in the beginning, as a timeline, he was born and he was already liberated soul, I think.
Okay.
I never see the Narada Muni was born as baby. Okay. What we understood from first canto, Narada Muni was a servant or a maid, and then as a lightning struck, he left, and then he was the next creation, he was born as a son of Brahma, and
Okay.
he was, I think,
Okay, then Mataji, how is it that Brahmaji is explaining about Lord Narasimhadev and Narad Muni doesn't know that Lord Narasimhadev is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, because he himself has explained to Prahlad Maharaj in the womb that Vishnu is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So how is it this is connecting? Like, it's already Narasimhadev is there before and Narad Muni doesn't know. So this timeline I'm unable to understand.
for this question, there are many ways to answer. One answer is Srimad Bhagavatam is not always time sequence. So someone said this and someone said it in different time. That is one question, one answer. Another answer is the gopis telling to Krishna, in Bhagavad Gita you said this and that. If we think about time, Krishna spoke Bhagavad Gita in Kurukshetra, and a gopi is talking about this last dance. He didn't speak Bhagavad Gita yet. So timeline is not always secret, and this is second. And third, there was a different day of Brahma. First day of Brahma, second, because he has 360 days and 100 years. That means many, many, and every yuga he appears. So there could be different yuga. And then this is fourth. And the fifth one, I think I said this before in the class, but Katamakarana Maharaj, when I was asking about, you were there in that class? So I asked about how come that when Bhishmadev was living in the body, Sukadeva Goswami was there and he was 16 years old, and then when this happened, that happened, time doesn't match. How is that possible? Because Bhishmadev was living after Battle of Kurukshetra, and then after Parikshit Maharaj, then he was Sukadeva Goswami, then all the timeline didn't match, and I asked Katamakarana Maharaj, it didn't seem to me it's matching, the time is not fitting. And then Katamakarana Maharaj said, what did he say? He said, this is like a Japanese people who want to put all the puzzle in the place. That was Katamakarana Maharaj's answer. So we tried, what he wanted to say was that I, as a Japanese, I wanted to fit everything in the pieces in the puzzle, but then spiritual understanding is behind. Jiva Goswami said we cannot understand the Lord unless we accept it's inconceivable. So that is the fifth answer. Mataji, you have the fund. 2 minutes.
You mentioned in your class the power, the potency of pure devotional service, practicing pure devotional service. But what if the situation is like that I'm not practicing pure devotional service? I'm actually practicing mixed devotional service, but I'm not even aware, because I'm not even aware that I have this selfish motive, but it is driving force in my devotional service. So for such a person, what is the remedy? What can be done that such a person can come to practice pure devotional service?
The association is very important because we are so conditioned. We want to be pure devotee, we want to take ananya bhakti, but we are conditioned. So we can't, of course, always be practicing pure devotional service. We may not even notice. So someone has to tell me, hey, are you okay? So someone has to tell us. Even someone tells us, I think I'm okay, then it just go on. So we need a good association. Prabhupada said that's why we created this International Society of Krishna Consciousness. So even though we are not mature, we are always, at least me, not always. Prabhupada says, someone said, Prabhupada, sometimes I fall into Maya. Prabhupada said, not sometimes fall into Maya, sometimes you fall into Krishna consciousness, and most of the time you're in Maya. So it's for the conditioned soul we have been in the material world, it's a natural thing. Don't get so depressed. That's nothing so especially bad. It's a natural thing. But sometimes by good association, by reading the Srila Prabhupada book. If we fall into Krishna consciousness, sometimes that's a great gift. And take the gift as precious moment and keep going. Thank you. Thank you very much. 9 o'clock. I will get chastised if I don't finish, but then Prabhupada disciple, how I can say no. I hope it's not a hard question.
We sometimes devotees get absorbed in their particular circumstance, and they're not happy with it, and they really want it to change to what they would like it to be. You know, like I have a daughter-in-law who likes living in Mayapur.
Which one?
I have a daughter-in-law,
Which one?
wife of my son, and she wants to live in Mayapur, and my son wants to live in America.
Have I?
He wants to live in the United States.
Which one? Which son? Nandu?
No, Navadvip.
Oh, Navadvip.
So he's living in Colorado, and he has my grandson, and then she's here with her granddaughter, and she's always absorbed in this situation. Now, she's initiated devotee, Jayapataka Swami, and my son's also initiated devotee. So they're devotees, and they practice Krishna consciousness, they chant and stuff, but this issue, you know, their issues are overwhelming, you know, like they think about it all the time, they fight, they have there's so much energy put into this, and a lot of devotees are like that, you know, they might not be happy with where they live, or their job, or their wife, or husband, or how do we sort of come above all that and worry about what's really important, which I guess would be going back to Godhead, right? We always say that's what we should be thinking about. But the circumstances that we're in can take all of our energy, you know, worrying about that, worrying about our career, and so many things, our health. So how does somebody how do you rise above these problems in our life,
Okay.
and tolerate them, or and worry about what's important?
Thank you very much for a very important question. Bhagavan Mishra Prabhu here. Mishra Bhagavan Mishra Prabhu. He's Prabhupada, you're Prabhupada disciple, long time in ISKCON. You have more experience in Krishna consciousness, how to live in Krishna consciousness in the material world, such a difficult job. Word declares to Maya, we are trying to establish the spiritual movement in the material world. So naturally it's difficult to practice Krishna consciousness in the material world, especially the practical mean how to maintain our life. We should do full-time service, but we have to maintain ourselves. We want to live in America because of facility and different reasons, but then the wife wants to stay in the spiritual world, in Mayapur. That is the most wonderful thing. I'm a very unpractical person. I can't answer this kind of question. Probably you know better, because I'm very unpractical. When I became a devotee, I saw my Guru Maharaj, I saw Radha Madhava, I just want to come to Radha Madhava. That's it. Everything was against me, but then I just came to live in Mayapur. I just cannot think of practical aspect. So this question you can ask someone who is more practical, or I think you know better than anybody else because you have a lot of experience. So I didn't answer your question. I know you are not very happy, but it's like that. Wherever you are, it's a spiritual world, Mahaprabhu said. If practically it's not possible to live in Mayapur, then it will be Krishna consciousness in America. If it's possible to stay in Mayapur, then be happy in Mayapur and don't let the consciousness go to America. Like I'm doing Japanese preaching, so now I'm living in Mayapur, but my consciousness goes to Japan, but then I don't want to die in Japanese consciousness and then leave the body somewhere else and like something like that. But wherever you are, America or Mayapur, be Krishna consciousness. Whatever the practical difficulty that I can't solve, you know better than me, and many devotee has practical experience. So what I can say is, somehow or other, be Krishna consciousness wherever it's practical, or maybe not practical, but Lord Chaitanya is always there. I'm sorry, you are not satisfied. Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Dai Go Premanandi Hari Hari Bol.